Hello there my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars video. Are you in the mood for a juicy Star Wars movie tidbit? Well, today's your day. So yesterday, Disney held an official upfront event at Allianz Parque in Brazil. During this event, they showcased their upcoming slate of movies, spanning all the way till the end of 2027. Toy Story, Incredibles, Frozen, and in the May 2027 section, they displayed a poster of Shawn Levy's Star Wars Starfighter, one of the very first official promos for the movie, and in it, we see one of the most iconic ships in the entirety of the franchise, the Millennium Falcon. It's being followed by a couple of X-Wings, presumably the Resistance, and if the Falcon is going to be in the movie, the question that follows is who's going to pilot it. Canonically, the last time we saw the Falcon in action was during the Battle of Exegol in The Rise of Skywalker, and it was Lando who was piloting it alongside Chewie. But I have a feeling Lando might not return. The end of The Rise of Skywalker strongly implies the new owner is going to be Rey, but at the same time, a couple of visual dictionaries have confirmed that while Rey is the one who flies it the most, it still belongs to Chewbacca. He is now its rightful owner. But imagine if this poster is teasing that the wild rumors were right, and Rey is going to appear at the end of the film. It could just be used by several members of the Resistance, notably Chewie, a character who Daisy Ridley confirmed is going to be back in the Rey movie, the one by Charmin Obaid-Chinoy, if, and only if, that movie ever comes about. And from Disney's point of view, Chewie, the Millennium Falcon, these are such easy wins to get fans excited. That being said, before we get ahead of ourselves, there is a solid chance this poster is just a stand-in. Filming has only just started in Europe, and there is no usable footage yet. It is such early days. Now, one of the reasons we should be cautious about this is the poster for Avengers Secret Wars at the very same event was spotted using fan-made art that included Miles Morales and the Beyonder. According to a few sources in attendance, the image was not created by Marvel. It's a concept design that was repurposed for this event's presentation. Now this is such an important bit of context considering the Star Wars updates that we're talking about, because it might say that across the board, Disney is using fan-made placeholders instead of official photos. However, the choice to include the Falcon might have been deliberate, and it's not too far-fetched to think that such a famous ship could appear in a movie already slated to have X-Wing action. Star Wars fans have already started theorizing about Wedge Antilles, Poe Dameron, wider Resistance connections, and there was a rumor that this film might be a repurposing of Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron. Even at Star Wars Celebration earlier this year in Japan, Shawn Levy did put emphasis on his love of piloting in the Star Wars universe. That being said, based on all of the rumors for the movie so far, aside from the Rey stuff, which I guess could be a gateway to the Falcon, there isn't much that points towards the Resistance or Chewie. But then again, aside from the cast and a few comments here and there, we know next to nothing about this movie. Even a week or two ago, Mia Goth came out and said, this movie is entirely separate to everything that came before it. So it might be the case that Disney was using the franchise's most famous piece of junk to signal in the most obvious way to those in attendance that this is a Star Wars movie. The Starfighter poster was lost in the middle of so many others, so it had to stand out. So it's not a piece of art that was made or commissioned for this specific Disney event. The Millennium Falcon would be a nice touch, maybe appearing right at the end. Maybe Flynn Grey, who's playing Ryan Gosling's character's nephew, could fly it by the end. But there's also a part of me that wants Starfighter to avoid the obvious and avoid Skywalker Saga connections. But of course, this year we're celebrating The Force Awakens' 10th anniversary, and something that really got fans pumping their fists nearly 10 years ago was the appearance of the Falcon launching into the sky on Jakku in the trailer. That ship is easily one of the most recognizable symbols in all of Western pop culture. So I'm not surprised Disney used it, but is it going to be in the movie? They seem to have deliberately chosen this. They could have just gone for a generic poster of an X-Wing, maybe the one that was revealed at Celebration. Personally, I think the best approach, if the Falcon is going to be in the movie, is if it's a memorable but short cameo, just to make the audience feel like this is part of a connected universe. Just a fun little bit of fanfare, and maybe, fingers crossed, they can get John Williams to score just a small, memorable, familiar soundbite, just to play on our nostalgia, but not too much. Now, I was thinking about Chewie possibly appearing in the upcoming post-Episode 9 films, and it dawned on me that I think fans have forgotten one of the most controversial things The Rise of Skywalker did. They gave him a fake-out death, where Rey thinks she's killed Chewie with her Force lightning, but then it turns out he's alive. He was in a different transport, and that sparked a lot of debate. Many felt it was a cheap emotional trick. It undercut the impact of Rey's horror and guilt. Viewers felt manipulated in a way, like the movie didn't trust the audience to handle real stakes. Others say it was a missed emotional opportunity. Chewie's death could have given Rise a powerful emotional core, similar to Han's death in The Force Awakens. But then, I remembered the fan arguments following the death of Chewie in Legends. Oh yes, if you weren't there at the time, the first book of the New Jedi Order series Vector Prime by R.A. Salvatore was extremely controversial, and the author experienced an insane amount of backlash. The storyline is set about 20 years after Return of the Jedi, and it marked a darker, more mature turn for Star Wars books. The main threat was the Yuuzhan Vong, the invaders from outside the galaxy who despise technology and wield strange, living bioweapons. So this all took place when Han Solo, Chewie, and Han's teenage son Anakin Solo were on the planet of Sun Pedal, evacuating citizens. The Yuuzhan Vong unleashed a terrifying weapon. They pulled one of Sun Pedal's moons out of orbit, sending it plummeting towards the planet, a doomsday-style event. As the evacuation continued, Chewie helped load refugees onto the Falcon, while the moon loomed larger and larger in the sky. At the last moment, a strong gust knocked Anakin off balance. Chewie threw Anakin back to safety, but time had run out. The Falcon could not delay for a second longer. Han screamed out Chewie's name and told him to get on board. Anakin is forced to take off to save everyone else, even as his father begs him not to. And in a haunting moment, Chewie roars defiantly at the falling moon as it crashes into Sun Pedal and kills him on the spot. The aftermath was even more tragic. Han Solo was devastated. He initially blamed Anakin for leaving Chewie behind, and this marked a turning point in the expanded universe. No one was safe anymore. Killing Chewie, a beloved, seemingly untouchable character, was meant to signal that the novels were taking real, lasting risks. And at the time, many fans assumed this to be canon. And Chewie's death echoes through later books. He is memorialized by the Solos and the Wookiees of Kashyyyk. So what I'm getting at is if Star Wars canon ever decides to kill off characters like this, even though I don't think they will, they should make it a monumental event, or at least it should have a very strong narrative purpose. I hope one day we see Lumpy again, Chewie's son. He is canon now, and he's appeared in several comics, and I personally love the Wookiees. I can't see Disney killing off Chewie anytime soon. You know, Chewie is one of the most memorable characters, and probably profitable characters for Disney, especially in terms of merchandise. But what do you guys think of today's update? Do you think we'll see the Falcon again? Maybe in Starfighter? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this one, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, check me out on socials, and may the Force be with you, always.